right, my fourth graders, you guys have been starting working on some fractions. And so yesterday you started looking at improper and mixed fractions. And so I've put you several videos on this week just to help you with fractions. And I've also going to take time to actually go through this video with you to give you some practice. And so you need to, after watching this video, you need to be able to identify and tell whether a fraction is called improper or if it is a mixed number. And so we're going to go through, we're going to look at improper and mixed numbers in this video. And then at the end, we're going to do some number line practice as well. So when you look at this screen here, of course, this says improper fractions. And if you remember watching, if you've watched the other video over improper fractions, it's called improper because it's not written as a standard fraction. And you know, when you see a fraction, let's just use the example. I'm gonna come over here and let's say we have 2/3 as our fraction. Okay. And if you remember, the top number, of course, is called the numerator, and the bottom number is called the denominator. And this is a standard fraction. And remember, fraction is part of a whole. Okay, so you're not going to have a whole number when it's a fraction. It's just part of something. Now, you're going to learn this week that you can have what's called a mixed number that has the whole and the fraction. But just remember, when you have a fraction, you've got a part of a whole. There's something that's missing from one of the wholes. And so this one is a proper fraction, okay? We would say that this one is proper because, let me write that up here, the denominator on the bottom is bigger than the numerator on top. And so when your denominator is the bigger number of the two, it's called a proper fraction, okay? So when you're thinking about an improper fraction, it's improper, it's not proper, it does not follow the standard rules of a fraction, because if you look at all three of these examples, the numerator is the bigger number on all three of these, okay? And when you have a big number on the top, when your numerator is a bigger number and your denominator is smaller, that's called an improper fraction, okay? And so when we look at these three fractions, and I'm going to go ahead and uncircle this for a minute. Let's look at this one here. Now, you would read this one the same way you would read a proper fraction. Like over here, I said 2/3. That 3 on the bottom, the denominator, let me know that that was in thirds. You would read this one the same way, 17/3. But when you draw this picture, what that means is, okay, I'm still dividing my my fractions, my parts, into thirds. So all of my whole rectangles down here have been divided into thirds. But when I draw them out, I have to draw enough holes that I can color in 17 of those thirds. And so what I had to do to make these for 17/3, I took each rectangle and I went each one into thirds. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And so each one of these is divided into thirds. Then all I had to do was to go back and color in 17 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Notice one was not colored because that would make 18. And I didn't need 18, I only needed 17. So that would be 17/3. I split my rectangles into thirds and I colored in 17 of those. Now this one, this improper fraction, I know it's improper because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. I would say 21/5. And in order to be able to draw this picture, what I did is I drew rectangles and I had to divide them into fifths. And I had to draw enough that I knew I would have enough rectangles for 21. So I said, okay, this would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Now, 25 would get me my 21. Okay, I couldn't stop at 20 here because I wouldn't have had enough, so I had to go on to 25. And so I took my rectangles and I split them into fifths. Each one has 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and I needed to color in 21 of them. So I did. I colored in 5, 10, 15, 20, and 21. 21/5. 4 of these boxes, these of my rectangles down here, were not colored in because I did not need them. This one over here, we would say 15/4, and I know it's improper because the numerator on top is bigger than my denominator. Well, my rectangles had to be divided into fourths. So I drew rectangles and I went through and I divided each one into fourths. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I had to have enough to make 15. Okay, so 4, 8, 12, 16. If I had stopped here at 12, 4, 8, 12, I wouldn't have had enough. So I had to go on and draw 16. And you still have to draw this extra boxes. Even though you don't color them in, you still have to draw them because they are still part of this improper fraction. Okay, so I colored in 15 fourths. So 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15. I didn't need this one, but I still had to include it in my drawing. And so these are improper fractions. When you think about mixed numbers, that's exactly what they are. They are a mix between a whole number and a fraction, okay? A whole number and a fraction. So when we're looking at these here, I would say how I'm going to read this, I'm going to say the whole number first, and then I'm going to say the fraction. So I would say 4 2/3. And when you look at the picture of this one, this number right here means I'm going to have 4 holes. So here's my whole pieces down here. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And remember, this right here is your fraction part. And this is why you need to know and remember that a fraction is a part of a whole. So when I draw the fraction part, when you come down here and look at your next box, I had to draw 2/3. So here were my 4 holes. I had to draw a 5th box, okay? But I'm not going to use the whole box because I only needed 2/3. So I divided my box into thirds because my 3, the denominator was on the bottom, that told me thirds. And I had to color 2 of them. So there's my 2/3 right here. So 4 2/3. This one right here, you would read and say 6 1/4. Just remember, you just read your whole and your fraction. And so when I'm drawing this, or when you see a picture, my whole number right here, I've got to have 6 whole boxes or 6 circles, whatever the picture might be. I have to have 6. So I've decided just to use squares. So I drew 6 whole colored in squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then to take care of my fraction, I have to draw a whole nother box the same shape as my holes up here. But this time I only wanted to color in the fraction, 1/4. So I divided my whole box here into fourths, 1, 2, 3, 4, but I only colored in one of them. So 6 1/4. This one here, I would read 3 2/5. Whole number and a fraction, okay? So 3 2/5. So on this one, I needed 3 whole squares, and then of course, fraction. So I needed 3 squares, so I did 1, 2, 3 gray squares. And remember, my last square to represent my fraction has to be the same size as the other ones. So I drew a whole nother square down here. But this time, remember, when you do your fraction, you're not coloring in a whole square, because then that would have changed my number to 4. I only want 2/5. So I had to divide my box, my square, into 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I colored 2 of them. 1, 2. And so that would be 2/5. Okay? On these next couple of screens, I want you to just say out loud if this is a improper fraction or a mixed number. So I'm going to show you a few numbers. 23/6. Is that improper or is that mixed? Good. This would be an improper fraction. And you knew that because the numerator was the bigger number. And it's improper. When your numerator is bigger than your denominator, it's an improper fraction. What about this one? 5 2/7. Good. This one's mixed. What is the whole number here? Good. The whole number is the 5. What is your? Good. 2/7. So if I wanted to draw this one real quick, I would draw 5 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let me close these in so I can shape these in, hopefully. All right, so let's say I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to do a box over here for my fraction. It needs to be about the same size and shape as the other ones. And of course, I'm trying to draw here with a mouse. Now this time I am not going to color in all green. I need to split it into sevenths. So I'm going to draw 6 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I need to try to color 2 of them. So 1, 2. And that would represent my 5 and 2/7. Is this next one improper or mixed? 8 and 3/5. Good. It's a mixed number. Okay? It's mixed because it's a mix between a whole and a fraction. If you want to, pause the video and get you a piece of scrap paper or something and see if you can draw a picture to match 8 and 3/5. And then unpause it and we'll check it real quick. All right, I hope you took time to pause the video to try to draw 8 and 3/5. So what is the whole number in this? Good, 8. And so you should have drawn yourself 8 whole boxes. Okay, so here's my 8 whole boxes. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm going to shade them in. Whoops. Get my color. So 1, 2, 3. Oh no, that's not good. Let me close in one of them boxes up here. Hopefully that took care of it. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I need a whole nother box for my fraction. So I'm going to draw another one about the same size and shape. This time though, I'm going to split it into fifths. So I'm going to draw 4 lines. 1, 2, 3. I only need to color in 3 of them. So 1, 2, 3. So 8 and 3/5. All right, what about this next one? Is that improper or mixed? Good, that's an improper fraction because the numerator is the bigger number. Remember, basic standard fraction, the denominator should be the bigger number. So this one's improper. All right, for the last few minutes, oops, sorry, one more. Is this one improper or mixed? Good, this one's also improper because you have the numerator bigger than the denominator. For the last couple minutes, let's go over, tell me on this one this time. Tell me what this number would be. Obviously, I know this is going to be a mixed number, okay, because I see some wholes and I see a fraction. So how many whole squares do we have there? Good, we have 3, so I'm going to put 1, 2, 3. And what's my fraction over here? How many boxes is this square divided into? Yeah, I know it's divided into 4, so that tells me my fraction has to be fourths. Now, how many of those are colored? Yeah, 3. So your mixed number here would be 3 and 3/4. Remember, we knew it was mixed because I saw some whole squares and then I saw a square with some fractions, some pieces missing. So 3 and 3/4. What about this one? What would your mixed number be? And I know this one's mixed because I see some whole pieces and I see a fraction piece. What would this be? What was your mixed number on this one? All right. So on this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 whole squares. And this box down here would be a fraction, and it is split into thirds. So I can go ahead and write and say that I know that's going to be thirds. And now how many of those thirds are colored? Good, 2. So I would say 5 and 2/3. One more. What is the mixed number for this one? All right, let's see. I hope you said 5 and 4/6 on this one because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole squares. And then this one, this fraction piece is split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that's my 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 are colored. So I know that that mixed number is 5 and 4/6. All right, so continue working this week on using improper and mixed numbers.